Welcome to Keiretsu Forum Presents. My name is Randy Williams. Welcome to Keiretsu Forum Presents. My name is Randy Williams. I'm a member of Keiretsu Forum. I'm also the founder and CEO. We've grown to 53 locations around the world. We have over 3,000 members. Today we're bringing a portfolio company CEO. He's been on the show before. Bill Sarris is our guest, CEO of Linqto. You're going to see a couple different iterations of Keiretsu Forum. This to my left is a Keiretsu Capital, which is an affiliation of Keiretsu Forum, and that tops off our best deal flow. It's a VC fund. Keiretsu Forum members have invested over $2 million in Bill's great company, and also Keiretsu Capital has come in twice to top off your great company. Now, what we're trying to do today is trying to link the world. We have something big that we've planned. We're working on it, and we're going to discuss it today. Now, this is going to be applicable to the members of Keiretsu Forum, the chapter presidents, the future chapters, and more importantly, the companies that present in the future. How do we link the world with, obviously, resources and additional capital to grow your companies? So Bill, why don't I stop there, introduce yourself, and talk about our partnership. One thing cool about Keiretsu Forum, we are fully transparent. So we're an investor. If we're an advisor, we let you know. But right now we're a happy investor, Bill. So let's bring the world closer together.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you for having me here today. Linqto, as you said, the combination really, it's hard to even make the distinction between where the flow stops between Linqto and Keiretsu Forum. Keiretsu Forum not only has invested in us, but our advisory board of 11 members, 8 of them are Keiretsu Forum members. And I think we have currently 6 or 7 chapter presidents who are investors in Linqto. So, and I'm a member myself of the Pebble Beach chapter of Keiretsu Forum. So we kind of live and breathe what we do, and this has been a very exciting time for us, for Linqto, and for Keiretsu, with the development of this new technology platform, Keiretsu Connect, that really is taking what we've been doing for 18 years manually around the world, and by creating the overlay of this technology platform, it's opening up everything we've done to the whole globe now, and it's fascinating to watch it develop.
So this is content-rich programs. This is the 24th month we've been taping. We don't solicit, nor are we soliciting capital. We're just telling a great story. How do we link the world? How do we bring people together? Obviously, Linqto is almost like LinkedIn. How are we linking, so to speak, companies and linking members? And how do we, which I love, called swarm intelligence or mind share. We want to, myself, I've made 55 investments through Keiretsu. When I want to discuss a company, I want to make sure I have expertise, whether it be in Cairo, which we're contemplating possibly opening in the future, or Prague, or Dubai. We have members all over the world. How do we truly link everybody together? So let's dive into that. And so we're joined at the hip. We're looking forward to the future. So why is this going to be so special in the future for those constituents, members, companies, chapter presidents? Obviously, as you know, we're going to Australia together in a couple weeks. We're filming this in summer of 2018. We're going to bring Australia and New Zealand a Keiretsu in a box. We're going to deliver something that usually takes years, which is building a community, funding companies. Tell us how we're going to do all this.
Well, there are a number of elements that are involved in this, and it really goes back to looking at how the angel and investor world works. Mm-hmm. And you've already accomplished that through Keiretsu Forum, through 18 years of building up this organization. The only thing we've done is we've come in and then connected the dots for all of those. So I think the aha moment that happened for me, we were building an app that was being used by the members in all these chapters around the world individually in the individual chapters. Mm-hmm. And as those individual chapters were putting deal flow, their monthly typical deal flow, into the app, all of a sudden one day we connected all that so that our members could see all the deal flow from all the chapters. And they went from one day being able to see the 4 or 5 deals that they look at each month to being able to see 200-300 deals that are coming in each month around the world.
I mean, historically, when you want to be an angel investor or you want to be an investor in startups, you need to see a lot of companies to make a selection of something you're comfortable with. But what we're doing is, so let's say you're a member of a great organization with 30 members. You're only going to see a very small, obviously, portion of very interesting deal flow. Now, if you're a member of Keiretsu, you get to see things globally.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, if you start with the first point, that's deal distribution. So angels are, I mean, they're really excellent with due diligence skills, with analysis skills. But what they crave, what they need is the deal flow coming to them. So if you're a typical angel, and you're probably a member of an angel group somewhere. If you're a member of that one local angel group, maybe you see 3, 4, 5 deals a month that come to your angel group. But because Keiretsu Forum has 53 chapters that are all bringing in those 3, 4, 5 deals a month, our members get to peek in and see deals 200, 300 to select from. So let's say that your specialty is life sciences. Well, maybe you're in Northern California and this month we bring in 5 deals and none of them are life sciences. But in Mid-Atlantic region, where they specialize in life sciences, maybe you can look at 4 or 5 deals that are life sciences deals. So now our members who are experts in certain facets of angel investing, through Swarm Intelligence always worked for Keiretsu Forum on a local chapter basis. Now you can, it becomes exponential. You have all the value of those 3,000 plus now accredited investors who have a background in all of this, and they're really experts.
Okay, so I see the benefit, and we're going to keep coming back to benefit from membership and or potential members of Keiretsu Forum and chapter presidents. But let's talk about the benefit of a company. A company needs capital, obviously, but they also need resources. Let's say, you know, one of our companies, let's pick Singapore, or let's pick one of our European chapters, say Istanbul, but they want to commercialize in America. What can they do now through, obviously, what we're calling Keiretsu Connect, which is our app that you've created as an engineer, Bill, and your engineering team? How can the companies benefit? Because I notice sometimes companies don't ask for enough resources to grow. So how can they then be part of this great app to commercialize them and grow them stronger, and which is a win-win for the investor, me, our members, move them toward scaling and eventually exit?
Well, that is probably the secret sauce of Keiretsu Forum. When I'm a company, I know we've also gotten some investment from other angel groups as well. When I go to an angel group and present, I have to go through the entire process all over again with every single angel group I go to. With Keiretsu Forum, if I pass through a local chapter and through their pre-screening and deal screening and due diligence, and boy, then I'm recognized by all the chapters, and I can immediately go on a roadshow and present to chapters all over the world. So the speed of the time that it takes you to get to the end of your raise is so critical. The CEO is the person who's usually doing it, and the CEO should be at the office of the company developing that company for our investors. If I have to spend years on the road going to all these other angel groups when I could do it through the syndication of Keiretsu Forum and get to that point in months, that helps all the investors to be more successful because my company can be more successful because I can concentrate my time on being
Well,
CEO.
Thanks to you and thanks to Keiretsu Forum, we'll create efficiency for both members and companies. So you have some graphs to show us. You want to launch into that?
Sure. So, I mean, some of the solutions that we're creating for this deal flow management is kind of an issue in angel investing, because you have all these disparate groups and separate, and so trying to get after information out is an important thing. Angel deals are difficult to track. They rely on manual input mostly. So through our technology platform, which is a combination of web, desktop, mobile apps, you know, depending on the situation, through this, we've been able to create structured deal flow input. Now, this is critical. Most deal flow input in the angel world is on pieces of paper, or it's manual, but it's not structured.
Napkins.
Yes.
Napkins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so as you can see on this slide, I mean, here's a typical example of how we've created a structured deal flow input. When a member comes to a meeting, the agenda of all the presenting companies are there. They can just tap on the agenda item and get all the information they want to know about that company, due diligence reports, their presentation deck, executive summaries, and then the company is presenting. When the company finishes with their presentation, they can tap on a button and fill out what we call our gold sheet at Keiretsu Forum, which is their interest in the company. That interest immediately goes to the company in their phone, in their app. They can see who all their interested investors are, so they have a way to follow up with all those investors. But what it means for us in terms of data, you know, me being a data person, is we now are structuring the data that's coming in so we can track the process of the flow. That's just one example, but all the way through our tech system, we are creating structured data input so that we ultimately have the data and metadata that we need to make valuable investment decisions and that companies need to make valuable decisions on where they want to go and where they want to present.
So I want to keep drilling down. I want to go deeper here. But for the audience that may be viewing this, is using Northern California's example, because that's where we're filming. We're filming in Silicon Valley. Every month we get about 50 companies present to us. And they go to the committee system first, people that really understand the verticals. Let's say we have a software company, then we send it to software. We have real estate, send it to real estate committee. You know, so we have these companies, and then 95%, I hate the word rejected, but they're too early for us. Top 10 every month come, and they go to screening day where our members come and they vote on what companies make the forum. And every individual in that particular room, or 25 members, privately votes on if they think that company should go forward. And this is going back to no vested interest at Keiretsu Forum, either for me or our members. We just care about the best deal flow coming. And when a member eventually invests, if they do, then they invest directly. There's no warrants or commissions here. We want the best deal flow and the best swarm intelligence, 50 down to 10. And this week, for instance, is Keiretsu Forum week. And that's where our forum members gather. About 300 of us gather in the Bay Area. So 50 companies down to 10, where 25 individuals, members pro bono, make decisions what companies make the forum. Then those companies present to us. And then it takes 6 to 8 weeks during additional due diligence. Usually a week after they present, then there's a telephonic call, and then they drill down on additional questions. Entrepreneurs, listen to this. Make sure you have FAQs done. So when you present to us, make sure, because you've had tons of questions asked of you in the past, make sure you let us know which questions. We may not ask all the right questions or all the questions. So 50 down to 10 to 4, they present to Keiretsu Forum, and then when we fund them 2 or 3 months later, or not, so then what do we do to support these companies in the future?
Well, I think that's where the differential comes in. With the slide that, could you bring that slide back up again that you were just showing, Mike? With global deal flow as opposed to local. So what you've described is local deal flow, and we've been doing that for 18 years, where we funnel down from all the companies that come into just the best deals for our members. That's the point at which a company then gets funding. As you see on the slide, there's a big funnel coming down, and this happens at every chapter, not just our own. So we are funneling worldwide thousands of companies every month to get down the few that are good deals. But once we fund them, the big difference is those deals can go on the road and present to any other Keiretsu Forum chapter around the world, so that once we've identified those good deals, those good deals can get funded so much more quickly that helps all of our investors as well as all of our portfolio companies to gain an extra advantage for success.
And I've always said, stop fundraising, get back to work, right?
Right.
And if we can help, and again, we have to be very careful, but we've created a sophisticated, I think, a very efficient system to hopefully give you capital, but more importantly, be very careful at it, but do it quicker than, sometimes angel groups take, years to capitalize. So what is and I hate the term app because there's so many apps out, but this is a tech platform you've created Keiretsu Connect. What is Keiretsu Connect really doing for the members, future chapter presidents, current chapter presidents, and also companies?
Yeah, so I think it's important. You brought up an important point, which it involves an entire platform. So what the members kind of see when they come to a meeting is what we call in engineering the UI. They see the output of what we've done, which is the app. And since the world is mobile first, all of our members, they're not going to come into a meeting with their laptops. They come in with their. So we've created apps so that they can use them in their daily course of doing business. But there's also
I think it's important to be green.
It is.
You know, we put a lot of time into paper and, you know, money into paper, and it gets thrown away. I mean, our expo, which comes twice a year, you know, we have 500 people come, and we have these books we give to our members, and it's a waste.
And when I leave those and I see all the ones that are just thrown in the basket or left on the table, and I think about the trees and what we do, it's so it is, you know, that's a major advantage to technology is also the environment and saving on resources. But we've also created an entire flow of technology. It starts with the chapter and chapter management and them being able to operate through administrative consoles and web interfaces and conduct their business. There's an RSVP process for coming to meetings. There's a ticketing process for when you're going to be doing expos and things like that. There are websites that need to be developed for each of the individual chapters that all then tie into each other so that we get the advantage of the global information coming into a central point. Then we can disseminate that information back out to all the chapters so they can make the best decisions. Then when they make the best decisions, that flows down through to their members, that flows down through to their companies. So it kind of starts at the bottom up instead of the top down. Well,
we have 53 locations. We stated that already, but we have probably 9 locations globally that want to come in. We're no rush here, but you know, we just had a 2-hour conference call with Cairo today, and they said we have a nascent ecosystem. We're not like Silicon Valley, but through your platform, you can hopefully accelerate, you know, their chapter. How does that work?
Well, you know, so one of the things that I think is not understood about the whole angel environment and network, you have companies, you know, AngelList, there's probably 5 or 10 that are just specifically technology. The problem for a company with those types of technology platforms, I mean, it's great, you can go in them and put your listing in, but people want to invest in things that they see. They want to invest in people that they meet. And so what we have is that capability for a company to go to actually travel and meet the investors and that is different. There is no other angel organization that does that.
Okay, so the question, how do you, and we're going to be in Australia next month, and you're creating, and usually it takes 2 years to build a critical mass of members, and you know, they're funding deal flow, and you know, the whole ecosystem there, but now you are fast forwarding that through your tech app. How are you going to do that?
Well, so we've created a process for them to market in their local market through both social marketing and email marketing. We've created a website template that is specialized for them. The entire ticketing process for their expo, including a payment processing system, they have basically a chapter in a box. So instead of struggling for a year or two to figure out how to do your chapter and how to launch your chapter, we've now created a platform for them to just launch immediately, and they're probably going to save 6 months to a year of development time that it usually has taken our chapters in the past to develop to where they'll be right at the point that they open their chapter.
Well, we're stealing a lot of your time with Keiretsu Forum. You have obviously other verticals you attack. You're in the banking sector. Any other verticals that you're creating efficiency for in the market?
We have been in the educational sector. The financial sector is our big background.
Stop. That's what I want to do at Keiretsu Forum. Okay. How do we work with Stanford to really help? Because a lot of my young chapters, just getting back to nascent, you know, ecosystems. How do we educate them to be angel investors? How do we educate the companies to really talk valuation? You know, let's talk pre-money and post and really understand the multiples of how to structure a deal. How do we bring education through your platform to Keiretsu Forum?
Well, part of our background is, as I said, was in education. We helped the Stanford Center for Professional Development to develop their platform. Also worked with Santa Clara, built their platform for the Global Women's Leadership Network. We love mentoring. That's a part of our company too. So that kind of hits my heart as well. And we just finished creating last year for Western Independent Bankers is one of our clients on the financial side. And we created a platform for them that they're using for continuing education for all their bankers environment around they represent banks west of the Mississippi. And so we know that platform, and we already have in our minds how that's going to become the next Keiretsu Forum education platform.
Nice.
So
Nice. Stay
there
tuned.
are a lot of pieces to this, and the best thing is these pieces are coming from all of our people. And now that I'm global, I mean, you've always been global, but now that our app is out there and our technology platform's out there, I wake up in the morning to 15, 20 emails from chapter administrators and presidents who are, up in the middle of it because it's a different time zone. And all the ideas that's flowing in from our network, that's what's generating the technology.
Well, one reason I want to do business with you, past, present, and future, is because you know us, and you're also a member of Keiretsu, but you also have signed up, I think you're up to 34 chapters around the world of my 53, is that correct?
Yes, we got 34 chapters onboarded,
right.
And we're working with all of them. We're working to get everyone.
Not
on
only
board.
know the chapter presidents, entrepreneurial directors, membership directors, their dogs' names. I love it.
It's a great family.
Yeah,
I mean, it is
really, a family.
That's the name. I mean, that's really where it comes. That whole explanation of the Keiretsu name, but it's not just talk. It's not just speak. It really is. When I speak with all of the administrators and chapter presidents and even members from around the world. I mean, you asked earlier about, well, what can someone in Singapore benefit from? Just one example. One of our members in Vancouver chapter, who also happens to be an investor in Linqto, got in touch with me when we went global. He found out about it the next day because he's always on his app. He started looking at companies. He found a company that had presented the previous month in Singapore. He contacted them, looked at their due diligence report, got in touch with their CEO, found out that CEO was going to be coming this summer to the West Coast of the U.S. So he got on the horn and contacted you and Nate, our Northwest chapter, our SoCal chapter, that we should bring them in to present. And so our members are helping with that flow, our chapters are helping with that flow, and the presenting companies benefit from that.
Great. So you have more graphs you want to show us, Bill?
Well, if you want to bring up some of the information, not so much graphs, but the events management piece slide. I don't know if you have that there, Mike, but under events management, angel and startup events, they really, as I was saying, they play a major role in what we do in the whole angel landscape. They allow investors and entrepreneurs the opportunity to meet and greet in real life. And that's far more powerful than online searches and phone calls that you might get from just a technology platform. So I just want to stress that it's not just about the technology. You couldn't build the technology and make this happen without the membership, without the physical location. So what we've done is just modeled what we've always done manually, right, and turned that into a virtual platform. So
when my wife and I invest in startups, there's a lot of opportunity in startups, a lot of risk. But I always look at the moral compass of the CEO. You got a great one. I look at obviously the market size, which you have a lot of verticals above me on Keiretsu Forum. But I also look at the stickiness. I mean, so I want to make sure that your app and your Keiretsu Connect platform has stickiness. Now, the definition of stickiness is usage. So is it being used today? Is it used tomorrow? So how are you going to ensure that we have stickiness with your wonderful model in the future? Because I love impact investing. I love making a difference, obviously, through Keiretsu Forum and investing in great companies that are making an impact. But also, I got to make sure they're going to be around in 10 years. Right. So tell us the stickiness of your model.
Well, I think part of the stickiness is just the Keiretsu Forum platform itself. which has a need, and we're filling that need. But you bring up an interesting point, especially in the technology world. You develop something today, it's obsolete tomorrow. We push out a new version of our app once a month with new features. We push out new versions of our web platform every month, our administrative console every month. So as we're doing that, we're constantly updating and upgrading to keep people's interest. If we just had the same thing today and we had it a year from now, right, that's where you don't get stickiness. You have to listen to what they want and deliver it, but do it constantly. Here's
something I've been thinking about last couple of days is, how do we honor our members? How do we honor our companies? How do we create a point system, How do we do something through gamification to create stickiness? So hopefully we'll be working on that this next couple of weeks. And I think you kind of know where I'm talking about, but how do we make sure that the human spirit wants to get involved, right?
Yeah.
Because we're competing against time.
And great association, it's not just quality deal flow, as the tagline says, great association. So we're also thinking about that as we're building the platform. We want to maintain and exercise that whole idea that we get together, that we associate. And so we have a leaderboard, for instance, in the app. So when you go to the attendees list at the monthly meeting, you can tap on a little icon and turn it into a leaderboard. Who's got the most points? And we give out points for filling out a gold sheet. We give out points for updating your user profile. Everything you do in the app, there's points, and then we give small prizes and things at the end of the meeting, and that gets people excited not only about using the app, but about the camaraderie and they end up putting,
And, we bring on, obviously corporate sponsors. I mean, bring on Microsoft, or Google, and give Alexis away, or bring Oracle on, and give something, give a CRM program. There's so many things we can do to support, the stickiness.
And we're already getting big responses from sponsors who, previously they were kind of sponsoring an individual chapter. Well, that's not as kind of cool as sponsoring the whole world. And now that we have the app capability, they can go into the app, and when anybody opens the app all around the world, see that sponsor and get information about that sponsor. So we've also increased those sponsorship opportunities.
Well, we have 1 minute left, and you mentioned something which I fortunately named over 18 years ago, which is great association with quality deal flow. I didn't say quality deal flow first, I said great association.
Yes.
Members join for diverse deal flow. They stay because of making good investments, but they stay because of community. And so let's make an impact of the community of the world to be more efficient, obviously, in investing, but also let's invest in great impact companies like yours. And so do you have any last things you want to say about what's next? Or what are we going to look like? What kind of company are we going to look like a year from now?
Well, I think that we just scratched the surface now. I think a year from now you're going to see 100 chapters and 10,000 members. Is just going to start growing. Now that we have the system for them, it'll start growing exponentially.
Well, I welcome viewers to be part of Keiretsu Forum. Come check us out. We look forward to checking you out also. Thank you so much, Bill Sarris, CEO of Linqto, being my guest today.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.